Hello students. Today we are going to start Victorian era. Victorian age. You must be wondering that why we have started Victorian era, because again there are so many things to be covered up. So in the last lecture we had completed the Romantic age. So again I have come back to the poetry section so that something here also should be covered, and then we will again come back to the Charles Dickens, where we have left that some small portion of Charles Dickens. Okay, so now coming back to the British literature once again, we are going to start today Victorian era, and Victorian era is an age which starts from 1832 and goes up to 1900. And who is the monarch of the Victorian age? Queen Victoria. Clear? She was born on 24th of May 1818, and Queen Victoria ascended the throne at the age of 18 years after her father's three elder brothers all died and left no legitimate children from May 1876. She used the addition title, उसको Queen of Monarch of British के बावजूद भी उसको मिला title Empress of India. This was an additional title as Empress of India, and she married her first cousin Prince Albert of Saxe, Coburg and Gotha in 1840. She reigned for 63 years and 7 months, which is no longer than that of any other British monarch, and the longest of the female monarch in the history is known as the Victorian era. She was the last monarch from the House of Hanover, and her son, successor Edward VII, belonged to the House of Coburg and Gotha. She was referred by many names: Her Imperial Majesty, Empress of India, the grandmother of Europe. And yes, amongst or amid the multitude of the social and a lot of political forces of this great Victorian age, four things stands out very clearly. That is, the Anglo-Saxons, after a long struggle, got settled and democracy became the established order of the day. The House of Commons became the ruling power in England. And because it is an age of democracy, it is also an age of proper education, of religious tolerance, of growing brotherhood, and of profound social unrest. The multitudes of men, women, little children working in the mines and the factories were victims of, industrialization and yes, social slavery. And to eradicate it completely was the growing purpose of the Victorian age until the present day. And because it was an age of democracy and education, it is an age of comparative peace. The Victorian age is especially remarkable because of its rapid progress in all the fields of arts and science and mechanical inventions. Victorian age is a term which covers almost the whole of the 19th century, and Queen Victoria, who came to the throne in 1837, was widowed in 1961, became the Princess or Empress of India, and died in 1901. Sorry, she was widowed in 1861. So the age, this long age, records a period of economic expansion and rapid changes. Britain became the center of new philosophy, of new free trade, new technology, and of continuing industrial inventions. This age was characterized by optimism and a sense that everything would expand, everything would improve with the passage of time, with the ruling of Queen Victoria. Though this age produced many stalwarts in the field of poetry, this is also emphatically an age of prose. And with the spread of popular education in the field of newspapers, in the field of magazines, in the field of modern novel, and the novel in this age, it is a place which the drama used to held in the days of Elizabeth, and the novels appeared in large quantities with great perfection also. And students now see the difference in the syllabus, that the syllabus which has been designed new in the form of drama, poetry, fiction, non-fiction, it is actually not very fair for the students. क्योंकि देखिए हम लोग क्रोनोलॉजी से जब नहीं पढ़ रहे होते हैं तो क्या हो रहा है कि देखिए हम लोगों ने नॉवेल्स किया हुआ है. नाउ द नॉवेल सेक्शन इज डिफरेंट. अदरवाइज अगर हम हिस्ट्री पार्ट से चलते तो यहां पे हम पोइट्री और बीच बीच में नॉवेलिस्ट भी आता अकॉर्डिंग टू द एज, which we are not doing because the students demand the new syllabus. So it is basically unfair for the students to have a proper idea of the chronological development, क्योंकि हर एज में पोइट्री भी होती है, ड्रामा भी होता है, फिक्शन भी होता है, ऐसे भी होता है. अब उसको हम अलग अलग अगर कर देंगे तो उसको मैच करने में थोड़ी दिक्कत आती है. एनीवेज, लिटरेचर ऑफ दिस एज, चाहे वो प्रोज हो चाहे पोइट्री हो, departed from the concept of art for art's sake. And great writers like Tennyson, Browning, Carlyle, Ruskin had a very conscious moral purpose to uplift the system and to instruct the system. What Charles Darwin sought to do for science, it was to find the truth and show how it might be used to uplift the humanity. And in the same way, when we read the fun of Dickens, Charles Dickens, the social miniatures of Thackeray, or the psychological studies of George Eliot, there is a definite purpose to reveal the underlying truth of human existence or human life. If we talk about Benjamin Disraeli, जिसकी पॉलिटिकल नॉवेल्स ने इतना क्लियर आइडिया दिया था विक्टोरियन एज का, उसी की थी सिविल, SYBIL, जिसका सब टाइटल है टू नेशंस बीइंग रिच एंड पुअर रेस्पेक्टिवली, was published in 1845. Charles Dickens, known for his sketches by Boz, The Pickwick Papers, Our Mutual Friend, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, all these novels are by Charles Dickens in this Victorian age. Clear? So in the high point of Victorian success, or you can say their self-esteem, was actually and positively and probably the great exhibition of 1851. And where this great exhibition of 1851 was held? It was held at the Crystal Palace. And why it was held? To display the Britain's achievement back home and abroad, and to show Britain at the height of wealth, power and influence. And the guiding spirit behind this display was Queen Victoria's own husband, Prince Albert. Clear? Then there was a person, writer known as Charles Reade. He came to be known as a novelist of reform, a reforming novelist, for his novels were about the prison life and about the treatment, how to treat the criminals. And his successful novels include Christy Johnson and It's Never Too Late to Mend, Charles Reade ki. And the best known novel of Charles Reade is The Cloister and the Hearth. Then there is Charles Kingsley, who is known for his Alton Locke, for his Westward Ho. And he was a novelist and a critic in his own days, but now he is remembered for his controversial attack on the New Man. And his novels of social concern are this Alton Locke and Westward Ho. Benjamin Disraeli, who is best known for his trilogy. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये ट्रायलॉजी. पहला है उसमें कॉनिंग्स बाय 1844, then Sybil, Benjamin Disraeli again, and then Tancred, Tancred, Coningsby, Sybil and Tancred. This is a trilogy by Benjamin Disraeli, and this was actually the true political novels in English. Sybil जो है Benjamin Disraeli की, it actually echoes Carlyle's past and present. जो थॉमस कार्लाइल ने पास्ट एंड प्रेजेंट लिखा है, उसी को वो इको करती है सिबिल. एंड बेंजामिन डिज्रेली की एक लेटर नॉवेल है जिसका नाम है लॉथेयर, LOTHAIR. It is actually something different, and it actually searches for some Christian truth. Then we have W.M. Thackeray, and he was basically a gifted man, and his reputation hangs internationally on his novel Vanity Fair, which is also the subtitle A Novel Without a Hero, which has the protagonist Becky Sharp. Becky Sharp, BECKEYSHARP. बेकी शार्प का नाम भी एग्जाम में पूछा गया है कि किस नॉवेल की ये प्रोटैगनिस्ट हैं. Then we have Anthony Trollope, who wrote great interconnected novels like the Barchester novels, which is set fully in the West Country area, and the Palliser novels, Palliser. Palliser novels moves on the national political stage with a very careful observation of the social influences on the political or public life. Then we have George Meredith, who is considered as the grand old man of English literature. इसकी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क है Dinah of the Crossways. Dinah of the Crossways is considered to be the best seller of George Meredith. इसकी other novels हैं The Ordeal of Richard Feverel, then Model Love, and other novels also. He has also written something about sonnets about the decline of the marriage, reflecting his disappointment after his wife. Who was his wife? Thomas Love Peacock की daughter थी जॉर्ज मेरेडिथ की wife. And इसकी Model Love बहुत famous है. Then we have the Bronte sisters, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, Anne Bronte. Not only contributed much to the growth of the novel, but also to the position of women at that time. Charlotte Bronte's first novel is Jane Eyre, which was published in 1847. And like Dickens, David Copperfield is a Bildungsroman. What is a Bildungsroman? A novel of growing from childhood to maturity. And Jane Eyre, as an orphan, worked as a governess and finally marries the man she loves. And what is the name of that man? Rochester. He was a social superior and a man of wealth. Then Emily Bronte's only novel, Wuthering Heights, is a novel of 1847 that contains actually a degree of emotional force, which moves in a very tragic circle from the relative peace and harmony to violence, to destruction, and to intense suffering, and finally brings back to peace and harmony again. And the last sister, Anne Bronte, who is known for the tenet of Wildfield Hall, where she depicts bitterly an unhappy marriage, followed by the departure of his wife, Helen Huntingdon, and her search for new freedom. And in the works of George Eliot, which I think we have done in the novel section, Middlemarch, Daniel Deronda, Adam Bede, Silas Marner, The Mill on the Floss, these are great novels of George Eliot. So this is what we are doing. We are considering the entire Victorian age. Then we have, yes, another big name, Mrs. Elizabeth Gaskell. Mrs. Elizabeth Gaskell is known for Mary Barton, Marybarton. And Dickens basically recognized the worth of Elizabeth Gaskell and published much of her writing in his magazine. मतलब डिकेंस की एक मैगजीन खुद की थी, उसका नाम था हाउसहोल्ड वर्ड्स, WORDS, हाउसहोल्ड वर्ड्स. और एक दूसरी मैगजीन थी जिसका नाम था ऑल द ईयर राउंड. इसमें दोनों नॉवेल्स, दोनों मैगजीन्स में मिसेस एलिजाबेथ गास्किल की वर्क्स को पब्लिश करता था डिकेंस अपनी मैगजीन में. एंड एलिजाबेथ गास्किल is best remembered for her work Cranford, CRANFORD. Another novelist of this Victorian age was Samuel Butler, The Way of All Flesh, Erewhon, EREWHON. Erewhon में क्या खासियत थी कि Erewhon was a novel which presents a utopian society which is used to satirize the Victorian concepts of duty and religion. Then we have George Moore, who is known for Esther Waters. And who is Esther? Esther is a servant girl who is seduced and deserted by another servant. Then we have to see the development of fantasy writing in the Victorian age, which was actually a popular phenomena. And the best-selling book of that time in the fantasy writing was Lala Rookh, Lalarokh of 1817 by Thomas More, which was a series of Oriental tales in verse. And this Lala Rookh basically anticipated Fitzgerald's Rubaiyat of Umar Khayyam. It anticipated Fitzgerald's Rubaiyat of Umar Khayyam. Then we have Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll, known for Alice's Adventures to Wonderland, and one very important work, Through the Looking Glass. These are two mid-Victorian fantasies. Then we also find the detective stories, which has found full expression in The Moonstone and The Woman in White. The Moonstone and The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. Clear? So this was a nutshell about the entire Victorian society. Now we are moving towards Victorian poetry. And now we will also, before entering into Victorian poetry, we will also study the impact of science. Impact of science बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये जो आपका जो मैं ये पहलू आपके सामने रखने जा रहा हूं. Impact of science on Victorian literature. Many questions are asked in the interviews, especially if somebody asks about Victorian literature, तो ये क्वेश्चन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि इम्पैक्ट साइंस का क्या इम्पैक्ट हुआ विक्टोरियन लिटरेचर पे. So two prominent factors in the life and the literature of the Victorian age are the steady advance of the democratic ideals and the progress of scientific thought. So ये दोनों ही मूवमेंट profoundly affected the literature of this period, चाहे डायरेक्ट हो चाहे इनडायरेक्ट हो. And what was the impact of science on Victorian literature? That the advance of science basically affected the outlook and the temperament of man as an intellectual activity during this period. Because of the evolutionary theories of Darwin and Herbert Spencer completely revolutionized the contemporary views about man and society. Faith in the biblical view of creation was shaken and was replaced by the Darwinian theory. अब परेशान ये लोग हो गए कि हम बाइबल पे फेथ करें कि डार्विन की थ्योरी पे फेथ करें. So faith in the biblical view of creation was shaken totally and was replaced by the Darwinian theory of evolution through struggle for what? For existence. And you also find that the science influenced the literature of the period in two ways. First of all, it fostered a spirit of restlessness. And by increasing man's material resources, material means जो आप फिजिकल पैसा रुपए धन दौलत जो आपका बढ़ता है, it commercialized the contemporary life. आज हमारी जिंदगी देखिए टोटल कमर्शियल हो गई है समकालीन लाइफ. And Wordsworth lamented the increasing materialism at the very outset when he cried. Wordsworth को बहुत खराब लग रहा था. He lamented कि क्या हो रहा है. उसने बड़ा रो करके दो लाइनें अपनी पोएम में लिखी हैं. The world is too much with us. Late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Such beautiful lines Wordsworth has lamented on the increasing materialism at the very outset of this Victorian impact of science on Victorian age. And yes, the spirit, or you can say the effect of geological and biological discoveries shook the system to the depths, the old theories of creation. And the general spiritual unrest is reflected most remarkably in the mid-Victorian poetry. So further, we will also talk about Tennyson wanted the compromise between science and religion. He wanted a compromise कि science और religion में compromise हो, and let knowledge grow from more to more, and he has said, and thus Tennyson welcomes the scientific advancement of the age, but he also wishes that more of faith should well be in the human heart as it was in the past, And so together science and religion may make one music and contribute to a lot of happiness and well-being of man. इसको कहते हैं कॉम्प्रोमाइज, कि रिलीजन अपनी जगह रहे, साइंस अपनी जगह रहे, हम अपना एक मिड वे निकाल लें, जिसको कहते हैं विक्टोरियन कॉम्प्रोमाइज. क्लियर? यस, या आई जस्ट रेड फ्यू मैसेजेस जतिन. सो वही तो मैंने आपसे कहा जतिन और स्टूडेंट से कि जो हम इस समय पढ़ा रहे हैं वो एग्जैक्टली आपके सिलेबस के हिसाब से मैं पढ़ा रहा हूं. आई एम नॉट फॉलोइंग दैट कन्वेंशनल टाइप ऑफ हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. आई एम टोटली फॉलोइंग द न्यू सिलेबस. तभी तो देखिए सेक्शंस बना दिया ना मैंने, ड्रामा, पोइट्री, फिक्शन, नॉन फिक्शन. तो हर पोर्शन को हम कवर करते जा रहे हैं. सो टुडे वी आर कवरिंग द पोर्शन ऑफ पोइट्री नाउ. क्योंकि पोइट्री में ये पूरा सेक्शन आ रहा है आपका विक्टोरियन एज. विक्टोरियन एज में एक छोटा सा पोर्शन हमारे था कि हम आपको विक्टोरियन एज का पहले डिटेल्स बता दें और डिटेल्स में वो आपके नॉवेल्स के सेक्शन आए. नाउ वी आर डिस्कसिंग द impact of science on Victorian age. So we are totally following the new syllabus. Clear? So to start with this. So yes, now we will talk about some of the scientific method. Scientific method में क्या हुआ students कि loss of faith हुआ, and this loss of faith कहाँ पे हुआ? In nature. And more important even that, the matter of science is the scientific method that invades the art of that age. And in accuracy of detail, it would be impossible to rival the scenic descriptions of Tennyson, whose nature poetry is like a work of a very inspired scientist. He was not like that of Wordsworth. And if we pass from poetry to history and fiction, we will find the dominance of the scientific method very clearly. And in fiction, the scientific spirit is you can say, we will find the problem of heredity and environment which preoccupies the attention of the novelist. जैसे कि आपने देखा होगा थॉमस हार्डी में, he has discussed the social problems of the earlier Victorians, of the Charlotte Bronte, Dickens, Kingsley, Charles Reed, giving place to points like biology, psychology, pathology. And the influence of Herbert Spencer you will find in the pages of George Eliot, while the analytical methods of science are even more subtly followed in the fiction of George Eliot. This was actually very much pre-evident in the Victorian age. So we will conclude here that certain poets of the Victorian age, for example, yes, the Pre-Raphaelites, D.G. Rossetti, Christina Rossetti, Hallam Hent, A.C. Swinburne, apparently show no influence of the scientific movement of the age, because their aestheticism, their exclusive concern with beauty, their theory of art for art's sake may also be taken as a reaction to the increasing materialism and the matter of factness of the age, both of which were encouraged and fostered by science. Clear students? So ये आपका हो गया एक पूरा समरी, जहां पे पूरा विक्टोरियन एज का मैंने आपको पूरा एकदम एक नटशेल दे दिया है. From here we will start poetry poet wise, that is Tennyson as a poet. Tennyson, one of the father figures, one of the most representative poets of the Victorian age. And yes, he was one of the greatest poets of England who had a long span of life in the Victorian age. And the bulk of his poetry is very large because he has left behind him a number of collection of the exquisite lyrics, जैसे The Princess, Maud, Maud, Idylls of the King, and yes, In Memoriam are some of his better known works. And in order to found a critical estimate of Tennyson, to know about Tennyson well, First of all, we will consider him as one of the most representative poet. He was a great artist. He was a poet of nature, and he was a thinker also. He is a representative poet who has represented his age not in fragments, not in parts, but completely in all its variety and in all its complexity. So टेनिसन विक्टोरियन इंग्लैंड के लिए वो था जैसा स्पेंसर था एलिजाबेथन एज के लिए. अगर हम किसी को समझाना हो तो हम ऐसे समझा सकते हैं कि व्हाट स्पेंसर वाज टू एलिजाबेथन एज, द सेम प्रोफाइल वाज टेनिसन फॉर द विक्टोरियन एज. क्लियर? प्लस द एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी डाइवर्सिटी ऑफ हिज वर्क is itself typical of the immense complexities of this age which we have already discussed. अब आपको समझ में आएगा क्योंकि एज को समझना बहुत जरूरी है टू अंडरस्टैंड द पोएट्स ऑफ दैट एज. अगर हम डायरेक्ट पोएट पढ़ेंगे तो हमें उतना समझ में नहीं आएगा. क्लियर? उसकी एक वर्क है जिसका नाम है लॉक्सले हॉल, LOCKSLEY, लॉक्सले हॉल, which was written in 1842. It is a full of restless spirit of young England and of its faith in science, commerce and the progress of mankind. Clear? उसके बाद उसकी एक पोएम आई थी द प्रिंसेस. इन सभी क्वेश्चंस, इन्हीं सब पोएम्स में से बहुत क्वेश्चंस आते हैं. इन द प्रिंसेस जो उसकी पोएम है, बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट पोएम है. द पोएट मीन्स टेनिसन कंसीडर्स वन ऑफ द राइजिंग क्वेश्चंस ऑफ द डे and that of the higher education of women and their place. हायर एजुकेशन की बात करता है और उनका क्या स्थान है इन द फास्ट चेंजिंग कंडीशंस ऑफ द मॉडर्न सोसाइटी. मॉड क्या कहती है? मॉड जो उसकी पोएम है, मॉड पोएम एक्सप्रेसेस द पेट्रियोटिक पैशन ऑफ द टाइम ऑफ द क्रीमियन वॉर, CRIMEAN वॉर. सपोज करिए कोई पूछे कि व्हाट इज द नेम ऑफ दैट पोएम वेयर टेनिसन has written a poem about the Crimean War, the passion of the Crimean War, तो आपको तुरंत याद आ जाना चाहिए मॉड. तो हम जो आपको पढ़ा रहे हैं, each and every line has the net eccentric angle and slowly steadily you will understand कि अगर हम कुछ खुद से भी पढ़ रहे हैं तो हमें कहां पे क्या चीज समझ के याद रखना है. And this poem Maud also reflects the materialism of the day. A very important poem again, Ideals of the King. In the Ideals of the King, while the medieval machinery is retained, the old story teaches lessons which have a direct bearing upon the contemporary life. Clear? So we can say that Tennyson was also, apart from all these things, he was essentially a poet of law and order. लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का पोएट तो था ही, he was also a poet of progress and he was basically a very tenacious poet for believing in the English tradition. And while he firmly believed that in the divine scheme of things the old order changeth, yielding place to new, and God fulfills himself in many ways, lest one good custom should corrupt the world. He was actually very much opposed to rash experiments, and Tennyson's poetry is often understood as the vehicle of the spreading democratic sympathies of Victorian England. He was very much interested in the common people and the common things, and he wanted the common man to come to his own, not through a sudden revolution, but through gradual revolution. So I'll just take a 2 minutes break so that again I can continue. Jatin, you have asked one question कि please explain important poems and dramas. इसको थोड़ा सा वो करिए, थोड़ा सा simplify करिए, because there are hundreds and hundreds of dramas and hundreds of poems. So poems तो पढ़ाना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, लाइन वाइज की जरूरत भी नहीं होती. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ वो थोड़ा मुझे बता दीजिएगा, चाहे मुझे व्हाट्सएप पे बता दीजिएगा. क्लियर? तो मैं उससे समझूं कि आपका क्या क्वेश्चन है ये, बिकॉज दिस क्वेश्चन इज लिटिल बिट कुछ में कुछ अधूरा है. सो यस, सो नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, क्या है कि हम लोग अब बात करते हैं टेनिसन की जो ग्रेटनेस है एज एन आर्टिस्ट. टेनिसन कितना बड़ा आर्टिस्ट है, हाउ ही इज सो मच ग्रेट एज एन आर्टिस्ट, हाउ ही इज सो ग्रेट एज एन आर्टिस्ट. He is undoubtedly a great representative poet, but he is still greater as an artist. And he is a very careful writer, what he had written again and again. And a minute observation of nature, which furnished him with a store of poetic description and imagery. And his use of repetition, of assonance, the expressive harmony of his rhythm, the subtle melody of his diction, and exquisite precision in the use of words and phrases, the picturesqueness, the aptness of his similes, इन चीजों के लिए टेनिसन जाना जाता है. And that is why he is such a great artist. And as far as music and melody and versification is concerned, Tennyson is actually a great literary artist, and his excellence, his excellent craftsmanship is also apparent in the handling of the English meters. And in blank verse, he is not so varied and powerful as Shakespeare was. Not so, you can say, majestical as Milton, but in the skill of his workmanship and in his wealth of diction, he falls but little short of those great masters. कहीं तो है, लेकिन कहीं थोड़ा उतने बड़े मास्टर्स से थोड़ा सा कम है. हम उसकी वर्ड पेंटिंग्स की बात करें, अगर वर्ड पेंटिंग्स, तो टेनिसन हैज फॉलोड अनडाउटेडली द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ कीट्स. टेनिसन की जो भी पोएम्स हैं, इवन द सिंपलेस्ट ऑफ दिस पोएम्स आर रिच एंड अबाउंड्स in the ornate description of the natural and the other sceneries. And these ornate descriptions reveal Tennyson at its best. And they show how the observation of Tennyson is so exact and about the rare loveliness of the epithets. Epithet को कहते हैं इंग्लिश में adjectives. जैसे I am wearing a black shirt, तो black क्या हुआ? Epithet हुआ. So he is a skilled artist in using the epithets. And Tennyson is a great and an original nature poet, where in his nature poetry we will find the impact of contemporary science. And it is seen in the minuteness, in the exactness of his observation. बहुत important line एक बताने जा रहा हूं, that Tennyson was a poet who finds nature red in tooth and claw. This is the dangerous aspect of nature, which Wordsworth never saw the negative aspects of nature. ये कोट बहुत बार एग्जाम में आया है, red in tooth and claw. He does not paint nature as a kindly mother. वो mother, prophet, seer और इस तरह की चीजें वो नेचर में नहीं ढूंढता था. Looking at nature, the poet did not find any evidence to support the human faith in the immortality of the soul. And this argument is very much there in his masterpiece, that is In Memoriam. Clear? And if we talk about his poem, The Lotus Eaters, it is the best example of the interior landscape painting, the natural background, the perfect harmony of the Lotus Eaters. And the poem displays his unrivaled powers of observation. Tennyson is simply superb in using nature to intensify the human moods. a very important point of Tennyson is left behind, which I'm going to discuss with you here is his Tennyson's personality or as a poet, as a lyric poet. Who is Tennyson? He is one of the greatest lyric poet. If we talk about the modern critics opine that the best of Tennyson is not to be found in the longer and the most ambitious poems, but it is to be found in his lyrics. The typical Tennysonian lyric, Tennyson से बना है Tennysonian lyric, is a lyric of mood, a poem in which what is expressed is not a simple feeling but a complex mood, which is rendered in terms of natural settings. Why? Because Tennyson wrote lyrics of many kinds. The elegy particularly suits the Tennyson's melancholy and the reflective temper. And the elegy, In Memoriam, which is known as an elegy, which was inspired by the death of his friend Arthur Hallam, Tennyson deals with all the phases of his personal grief and sorrow, discussing the conflict of knowledge and science on the one side and faith on the other, and traces his gradual recovery of faith. He has also written a number of lyrical poems dealing with the classical subjects. एक example है Tithonus, Tithonus, and this poem Tithonus is not quite dramatic. It reveals a feeling rather than a character. He has also written patriotic lyrics, and he has also written some very simple lyrics but are very heart touching, that is break, 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 crossing the bar. And the songs in the poem The Princess are very musical, very attractive, and very great. So his lyrics, we can say, are lacking in two things which the other great poets have, which Tennyson does not, that is intensity and spontaneity. दो चीजें आपको टेनिसन में नहीं मिलेंगी. So we can conclude that as far as his contemporaries are concerned, there are great contemporaries. He is a great poet, but his contemporaries are different from Tennyson as far as the craftsmanship is concerned, as far as the mindset is concerned, the natural जो नेचर को वो लेता है दूसरे नहीं लेते, the optimism, the pessimism, the way of planning, the way of architecture, the way of artistry and the craftsmanship, there are so many things. यही चीज आपने romantics में भी देखी कि though the 6 romantic poets are under the one umbrella, but all think differently, all write differently, and all are different segments, though they cover the single umbrella, that is the romantic poetry. इसी तरह से आप इस सेक्शन में भी देखेंगे कि टेनिसन अलग है, ब्राउनिंग अलग है, आर्नल्ड अलग है, और जितने भी पोएट्स हैं दे आर अंडर द सेक्शन ऑफ Victorian writers, though they are through and through Victorian, but they are different from each other. So students, यहाँ पे हम लोग इसको खत्म करते हैं आज, और नेक्स्ट जो हमारा जो नेक्स्ट क्लास होगा उसमें हम समझते हैं I have one option for you, that should I cover one very important topic which many students have also told me I would like to do it, that is called Coleridge's Biographia Literaria. Coleridge's Biographia Literaria. So Biographia Literaria आप चाहेंगे पढ़ना तो मुझे थोड़ा सा मैसेज करके बताएं कि should we take the topic of this Biographia Literaria. थोड़ा सा हमें बताएं. Coleridge Biographia Literaria. Biographia Literaria. Yeah, it is actually very useful. Undoubtedly, it is very useful, and many questions are asked from the Biographia Literaria also. So I would suggest all of you students that if you can read Biographia Literaria from your end also, then when I will teach you tomorrow, it will be actually better for you. क्योंकि बायोग्राफिया लिटरेरिया थोड़ा सा आप पढ़ के आएंगे और तब हम जब पढ़ाएंगे तो इट विल बी मोर बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू. Okay, so most of the students have. I also need to understand the literary criticism if possible once again for revision. Shreya, your question is again not to the point, and I could not understand your question. Okay, so every student wishes that I should go for Biographia Literaria. Okay, so tomorrow what we will do, in the first half, I'll teach you Biographia Literaria, first half an hour, and in the second half, I will go with Robert Browning, the second great Victorian poet. So yes, एक चीज और बताइए स्टूडेंट्स, जो हमारी जो स्पीड है, इज इट ऑल ओके फॉर यू, और शुड आई मेक इट मोर और लेस? क्योंकि वो चीज समझ में नहीं आती ना लाइव क्लासेस में. द स्टूडेंट्स हैव टू टेल मी दैट यस सर, द स्पीड इज ओके, वी आर एबल टू हैंडल एवरीथिंग. Yeah, Baljit, you got my class today. Welcome to. Yes. Okay, good that you are feeling comfortable. This is your first class today, and fine. So students, I'm exhausted, or yeah, okay, that is fine. So most of the students have already written that my speed is okay and they are very comfortable with it. कभी कोई दिक्कत हो तो आप मुझे मैसेज कर सकते हैं कि ऐसा करें. द स्पीड चूंकि थोड़ी सी कंफर्टेबल हमको लगती है कि हमें कोर्स भी करना होता है बहुत सारा और बहुत चीजें करानी होती हैं, एंड वी हैव लिमिटेड टाइम, लिमिटेड थिंग्स, बट in spite of that, I feel somewhere that I should teach you as precise as possible. So rest, आप सभी लोगों के पास हमारा जो स्टडी मटेरियल है वो पूरा पैकेट है ही है. दैट इज वेरी प्रेशियस. कीप ऑन रीडिंग इट. जैसे मैंने आज आपको टेनिसन पढ़ाया, विक्टोरियन एज पढ़ाया, तो उसको जाके वहां रिवाइज करें. एंड इफ some students, if they are missing with my study material, they can have it, they can get it. और जो मैंने आपको टेस्ट सीरीज के बारे में बताया था उसको भी ध्यान रखिएगा, जब जरूरत पड़े तब हमको बताइएगा. सो ओके देन, वेरी गुड इवनिंग एंड थैंक यू.